Hey man, well, it's kind of weird doing 2 podcasts in 2 days, but I know I want to front run as much content as we can because I know the value that we can provide is, to sky's the limit with the content we can provide for people out there. And we're trying to build this personal brand nowadays. I feel like a lot of people on social media don't really, well, from what I've seen, we haven't seen 2 people running a social media account. You know, it's mostly personal brands. It's just them, their face. And for a while we started social media with, the brand logo, and people don't really trust a brand logo. They kind of want to develop that loyalty or that trust behind a face, right? They want to be able to recognize you and who you are. So my vision to you, remember when I brought it to you, is like kind of having both of our faces on there and giving away value. And now the podcast obviously is kind of also laying into that short form content that we want to provide to give all the value that we can in the marketing space, but with our faces on it. And I haven't seen anybody do obviously the 2 marketing guys is now the handle on the social media page, but have you seen anybody doing 2 people in one, just kind of giving it like back and forth kind of content? I
haven't, honestly. And to your point, it's a lot of like solo acts I see. And those are great because it's personable. I think making the shift from just our logo to actually having faces behind it. I remember a couple months ago, like we made it a point to start recording more content with our faces front and center, like put some personality to it. Because I think that just resonates better with the audience. It's like, who is giving me this information? Makes you look more credible and more relatable too. But yeah, I've really only seen like one person kind of speaking all their knowledge, but having multiple people giving diverse perspectives, I feel like that goes a long way. Yeah.
And that kind of goes off our conversation with what we talked about last podcast, the funnel, the marketing funnel. And at the top of it is always that brand awareness phase. And that's really where this organic content, like, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is, you grow that awareness through these videos that push out there to as many people as possible to try and get on that algorithm. And I feel like with the short form content that we can take from this can kind of provide a ton of value, whether that is trying to get people to convert into a link in the bio. I kind of want to talk about that too, like the funnel from social media organic to funneling into a digital product, because everything is digital media, digital media marketing. There's so many different things that you can make a transaction for. And I kind of want to get your perspective on, do you think that the organic side it's obviously, I don't want to say better ROI, but I feel like there's more reach, and it's obviously the free side of things. Do you think that spending a lot of times in a business, whether they're building out a product, brand, whatever it may be, they're selling a service like what we're doing in the managed side of things, do you think that having organic content to lead to your link is a lot? I don't want to say huge. More, but it's huge. It's like in comparison, like where would you rank them in a paid media side with Google ads, social media ads, and everything? Or does it kind of go all hand in hand?
Yeah, I mean, it's all related, right? Even when we were talking about Google ads the other day, we talked about how organic search, so like your typical SEO, has a direct correlation to the premium that you might pay on your Google ads. Because if the organic is not up to par or trash, you're going to have to pay a higher premium to show up on the paid side. So there's a direct correlation. And I would say, especially when talking about content, like if your organic content is already good, then of course you're going to feel more comfortable putting paid dollars behind that same content to actually boost it out even further. So of course, I think like mastering the organic side just naturally leads into better efficiencies on the paid side, and it just all works together. To your point about kind of like funneling organic reach of maybe these short form videos to like a paid product, that's huge. And I think platforms like TikTok, obviously Instagram and Facebook have been around for a while now, but platforms like TikTok, when it first came out, the ability to go viral, like anyone could really go viral. Not anyone could go viral, but it wasn't really, anybody, it wasn't kind of, there wasn't red tape yet. It was like a brand new landscape, and you could go viral, and that could be how many sales just directly to your page because people saw you. So I mean, that's what happened to me, man. Like when at first I knew TikTok was something crazy when I started out. I was in New York City, so obviously COVID happened. We couldn't go outside. I got sick. I was like one of the first people to get sick, and I remember rolling a ball in a cup. And I was just recording. I was so bored. And I rolled a ball into a cup like down the hallway, and it ended up getting like 100,000 views. I was like, what the hell is that, man? Like, what is this? So then I started talking about the stock stuff and trading, which I did before, obviously, this marketing agency. Still do it, but not as in depth. But once I started talking about that, and then I went viral on social media talking about my
whatever, my success stories, my education base, like what I do. That digital product that I had is the educational system.
Exactly.
Once it got 1 million views, dude, it changed your life overnight. Yeah. It's crazy. It's honestly, social media is so powerful. And it's not like that anymore. Like TikTok and Instagram, like there's like shadow bans and they kind of like are selective off your algorithm or like who can push you out there. But I kind of want to talk about that because content is a huge piece to like getting on the algorithm. Like you can't just post any sort of videos. There's so much production and uniformity that goes with it. Like, I don't know if you know the guy named No Code Alex, but he got 130,000 followers in 90 days from scratch. And all he did was post about no code SaaS products, which we'll talk about, and just talking about like what they are, how to build them, how you can scale them, how you can exit them, what the multiple is on it to get acquired. And all of his videos are so consistent and he's wearing all white in each one. And you'll never really recognize that if you're just watching him. You're like, oh, that's No Code Alex. But like, if you go to his page, you can see how like consistent he is with like where he's sitting, how he's sitting, how he starts the videos, his hooks, what he's wearing. And you kind of like relate these colors almost like subconsciously and the way that his video is just based off of like what he's doing. But that's like all marketing right there.
That's
like,
that awareness, that brand awareness that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And also like just brand identity. So every time that I'm swiping up and I see him, I know kind of what to expect. Yeah. And it has like a similar formula. It's nice because then you actually can develop that audience base that they like can trust what type of content they're going to get from you. Yeah. So that's super important. And we talked about like even like our logo, like logo recognition is huge, but when you put that face to it, that's like you can't really get more personal than that. So, and being able to be recognizable just off of your own face and just like your own personality is huge.
100%.
It's like the reason why Anthony Davis made all the money and still won't shave his unibrow.
Yeah,
his net worth would probably cut in half.
Yeah. That's crazy. Actually, I never really thought about it like that. He is just the brow.
Yeah,
he's never shaved
it. He can't get rid of that.
Yeah. That's gross. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's like that trust and that loyalty aspect of it. And it's crazy because now he has 130,000 followers on social media and he has an education base like, oh, now I can help coach you, consultation brand, whatever. And it's just directed to his link. So now he has 130,000 eyes as warm leads, basically. And anybody that the algorithm's obviously going to push him out even more because he has so many followers. People are going to repost him. People are going to comment. So like now he's in the industry now. He's in the system. So he can get pushed out even more and acquire new clients on a warm base. So it's pretty crazy how like that brand awareness phase really does trickle down into that bottom funnel where the conversion is like making you a bunch of money, you know?
Exactly. And something else that kind of tying it back to our last conversation and like a lot of these marketing principles can be applied in so many different areas. Like we talked about getting more efficient processes and making it scalable. So even for creating video content, figuring out what the formula is and then making it's way more scalable when you know, okay, I got to do this, this, and this. I got to sit here. You can knock out so many more videos once you have that formula down versus each time you're in a different setting or maybe you don't know what you're going to talk about. So it's really important getting that process and kind of that system in place. And this goes for anything, whether it's the operations of running a business, creating content, how you're running your ads. Maybe you niche down to focus on a specific industry because you know how to win in this specific vertical. So you might as well go at clients in this specific vertical because it's kind of a little bit more uniform.
Of course. And it's crucial, man. Like video is crucial now. Like content is so crucial, but it burns people out. Like I created so many damn videos on the trading side of things and like the educational based stuff. And it's like, it's so tiring. You know what I mean? Like,
it is.
Cause you're sitting in front of these lights all day, you fuck up and you're like, oh shit, I should like, now I have to like the same video like 15 times and it comes out and you're like, you put so much time and effort into it. And the next thing you know, you post it and it gets like literally like 1,000 views.
It can
like,
be demoralizing.
Like 6 likes. It's like, but it's crazy because once you find that perfect rhythm, that formula, it takes time, just like everything else, right? Like people aren't professional athletes for, that doesn't happen overnight. You could be naturally gifted or like really talented or athletic, but you're not going to get to that level unless you put in a ton of hours, a ton of work, and like a lot of downfalls as well, So kind of relating that to the creating content side of things, it's exhausting. It sucks. And it's hard, right? Because like you got to have that uniformity. You got to know what the scripts are like. You got to develop an audience, which is really tough to do, especially if you're starting from zero. So it kind of deters people away from, oh, I've posted like 10 videos, it doesn't work, which kind of relates to a lot of like companies that we've talked to, like this AI company that we're talking about onboarding right now. It's like they have a great product or a great service, but they don't have any content. We went to their website. We're like, what do they do? Like, what do they do? And we can't develop that. And now they're like, oh, we should probably be posting content. I'm like,
exactly.
Well, yeah, at least tell me what you do. And then that can kind of like help people out. And then you can run ads behind that.
And we've met a lot of businesses like that where it's just like, I coming in, because we always like to do our due diligence before we get on the call.
Of course.
But it's like coming in, I'm actually not sure what you do. So that's something that I would love to help you fix.
Yeah.
Off rip. It's like, let's help you with your website, because I should be able to go through and quickly know exactly what you're trying to do. And that also ties into, if I can't see that as just a human being reading the website, these algorithms on Google, Bing, etc., when they're crawling the back end, they have no idea what you're doing either, and you're not going to show up for these relevant keywords or anything like that. It goes for all types of, ads, whether it's on social, search. If they don't know what the point of your page or your content is about, then they can't serve it to the right people. Yeah. And then you're missing out.
Yeah, of course, because the people that come to your website, if they're like, what the hell is this? They're going to just leave.
They're just going to leave anyways,
Because what's the stat you told me about? It's like 6 or 8 seconds before they bounce
on average, people spend just 8 seconds before they make a decision to like leave
on your website or just keep browsing.
So it needs to really be clear and concise once they get in. Yeah. Just what you have to offer and how they can go about it.
Yeah. It kind of blows my mind how accurate that is, because even I went on a little shopping spree yesterday in person, but even in the car on the ride home, I'm like online shopping and I'm like looking at different brands and I'm on there for no time at all. And if I don't like the first 2 pictures, I know they have thousands of products that I could shift through. But if I don't like the website, I just left and just went something else. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to go to Google and be like, I don't even know, graphic tees, and then literally just like swiped right to like look at all the ads. And like if I liked a brand, I would look at it, and then ended up buying from some place I don't even know who the hell it is. And honestly, it might never get here because I don't know if it's a real place. But it is crazy how like that 8 seconds is wild. Like I really am just like looking at a web page, even if it's like an Abercrombie or like a Louis Vuitton or whatever. Like I'm there, and then I don't like the first few pictures or something, I'm out.
And again, I feel like that principle relates to other channels too. Like going on someone's Instagram profile, if it just looks crazy, like colors everywhere. Yeah. Like you don't want the customer to feel overwhelmed when they go to like your hub, whether that's your website, like another social channel. It should look like it makes sense. Like, oh, okay, like No Code Alex. Like I come in, I see every video kind of looks similar. I'm like, all right, let me dive in and just maybe scroll and see like what type of information is here. But if it was just all over the place, I might be like, all right, I've maybe watched like half a video and I don't know. Yeah.
It's interesting because it does, like when you go to his page, it's like it looks very similar. Like you're gonna get the same thing over and over again. Okay. But that shit works because like nobody's like looking at a video that he has and going back to his actual physical page, right? And they're like mostly just clicking through stories, seeing what value he has to bring, and then they're going about their day. They kind of learn that way. It's almost like a classroom nowadays on social media with the educational base. Like there's so many people out there talking about different things. But that's the idea for us in the marketing side, right? It's like we want to be able to bring as much value as possible. You've been at Google for 5 years. You've been in the digital media marketing space for 10 plus years. And obviously with me building and exiting my personal brand, I feel like we have so much value to help people put the right funnel in place, no matter if they're selling shoes or if they're selling a service, product, whatever it may be. Maybe they're selling concert tickets. There's a way to make money in every way, but you have to structure it correctly or it's going to fall. You know what I mean?
I mean, we could even talk about kind of how we have positioned ourselves to be able to help like a diverse set of clients.
Yeah, man, I love that. If you want to kick that off, let's
so basically when we got started, we were really casting a wide net, trying to, provide all these different services for clients because, of course, we have a wealth of experience. But we realized that in terms of efficiency, what were like the 3 core pillars that we could really drive down into, because we had nice case studies, and we knew that they provided value at scale for a variety of different industries. Yeah. So consultation and just general strategy. So being able to help people kind of take a step back and just understand like what the best strategies across different channels might be for them. If they don't have the funds, especially in this economy, to be able to pay for managed services, which is pillar number 2, where we'll actually run the ads, do the SEO, all of that work for them on whatever retainer. And then again, just building off of that, again, pillar number 3, just general trainings and educations, because we've, recorded our own online courses. We can come in and do workshops for clients if they want to teach their internal teams how to do the work. So just being able to kind of provide value at every different stage of businesses, depending on what their budget might be or kind of where they're at.
So that's where we have like a leg up in the industry, and I don't want to give away too much free value for everybody to come steal, but that's the managed services is everything. There's so many digital media marketing agencies out there that just give the digital media, paid media side, social media. They do the content, they do the graphic design. There's so many different things, the email marketing, just like little things like that. But now we have different revenue drivers. Now we're creating this social media brand where we're directing them to a course sale or education or trainings. And like you said, a lot of people in this economy, they kind of want to bring their marketing in-house because there's a lack of transparency in the space, which kind of blows, right? But it also helps us out a lot because we're so transparent with our reporting. We have the SaaS product that literally kind of just pushes everything out there on an automated basis. So we can't hide those paid media dollars that everybody says they're spending, but probably they're pocketing because it's not going as far as they thought. And
because people are giving them their money and then they're getting no conversions in return, which we'll never do.
Exactly. So that's like the leg up, because there's 3 streams of revenue where it's like the social media side directing them to a course, or the managed services side, or the trainings, or the managed the managed services, the trainings, or just the consultations in general. So there's a lot of different streams that we have coming in, which is very, very valuable. It's not just relying on one focus, because we can scale business in another way, but that kind of creates like our own marketing funnel within a marketing agency, which is kind of wild to think about. But that's kind of how would you agree that that's kind of, that's a different approach, but that's where we want to stand out, right? We're a different type of marketing agency. You want to be different in the space, but what do you think is like, what is like something that you could help somebody starting a business from scratch? Do you think what kind of pillar do you think would be the one to focus on, or what do you think?
Well, to your point, that kind of built a funnel internally for us, because starting with that first pillar of like consultation and strategy, that's number 1 when starting a business, right? Even honestly, this morning before we came over here, I got a text from a friend who's trying to start his first LLC, and he's talking about like, how should I structure it? I got so and so that wants to come in on it with me. I'm bringing all the business. And that's something where it's just like general coaching and just like talking about the structure so that he's going to be able to scale and make sure that he's not getting like the short end of the stick for bringing in all the business already kind of jump starting it. Just, I feel like a lot of people feel that if you don't have like the LLC like attached to something that you're doing, it doesn't count. But it's like, dude, you already have. You started a functioning business, like you're doing it.
It's not legal yet.
It's not legal yet, but like don't short sell yourself.
Just already there. The vision and like what your hustle's already there. You just got to make it a filing, and that's the easiest part, really. And I feel like that's what deters people away. It's like, I got to file all this documentation. It's so easy now. All you got to do is go online. You could do it through a third party, or you could call the state and just like get it set up. And next thing you know, you're set up in like less than $500 or like $800 even.
But it's crazy what that piece of paper really makes people like lock in and realize that they got something real going. So it's still huge step, and then all the other benefits and ways that can help. But I think just starting with the consultation and general strategy, people that maybe already have the LLC, but they're just like, I don't really know, like I haven't been generating sales, like what should I focus on? So that is step number 1. So if we're translating it to like our own like operations funnel, that's like step number 1, starting with the strategy.
That's the leg up though, man, because people will come to us and like, how do I scale my business on the marketing side? And then they'll talk to us about price points, and we're like, all right, your ROI would be this is how many. We can do our research on the back end and be like, okay, per $1,000 you're going to get 100,000 impressions. Those impressions, you might get like a 5% conversion rate, and then do that 5% conversion rate. Are you going to be making a good enough ROI to scale this? Like, is this a good investment? Because I think you and I are on the same page. We're never going to talk to somebody and be like, just because you'll pay us means that we're going to work with you, which is a great thing. Like pushing people away, there's nothing against them, right? If their price points are too small or whatever, like I'm not going to be like a dickhead and be like, you're just not for us. Just like helping them out again, like a company
that's that
here.
Transparency again.
Exactly. The transparency is what draws people to us, which is why I feel like we're scaling as fast as we are now. And the thing that I don't want to say names, but somebody said yesterday, they're like, oh, I have a client for you. Here's who they are. They're charging $30 a month for their product or their service. And I'm like, Well, the volume that you're going to have to turn around on the paid media side is going to be ridiculous. And does that venue really have that much space to do that? It doesn't make any sense for them to work with us. And like nothing against them. Like I know the people, I like them a lot. I want to help them out. We could always consult them. That's why if our paid media managed services, because we're experts in this space now, our team is pretty dynamic. So if we can't make an ROI on ourselves, that's like second piece to me. If they're not going to make ROI, then I don't want to do anything for us. Like I don't want to take over their money and then put them in a hole. But what we can do is shift them to our consultations and trainings and be like, listen, for a much less price, we could tell you how to scale this, maybe change your price points, and we can help you scale your business on that end, right? Because me building my brand from zero to exiting, and then you being at Google, you're working with these multi-billion-dollar brands all the time. Like, you know how business works, right? Like that's the best part about having a business now, is like we know how to operate all this. We know how to help scale. We also know how to make you profitable. So that initial analysis is always huge for people that we like to talk to. So that's really it. You know, it's nothing against the clients that come to us that we can't work with. It's we're helping them out. That's the transparency.
And that's why we had to rework our structure, because we were kind of feeling bad about, like, I don't know what to do with this. So it's like, how can we provide value to everyone? Like you were saying,
like that $500 a month budget. We're like, how are we going to factor in ads and make money? Like we gotta run a business. And
we got to pay people.
Like, exactly. So that's where it kind of like sets the sights of like, all right, we're going to go for a larger scale. We're going to go for people with, you know, larger marketing budgets that can spend those marketing dollars, whether that is a clothing brand, you know. Obviously, GH Bass was one of the clients. They have a larger marketing budget, or now we have verticals of working in healthcare or lawyers or universities. So, that just companies that are well more established that we can work with on the managed side of things, but also being able to help out the little fish that are trying to grow as well on the coaching and consulting side.
And then, the vision and the dream or the goal would be to graduate those ones that start as consultation in the managed services and so forth. So and that's like, my favorite part is getting the case studies. So being able to grow, like one of our earliest clients, where they're basically a few months in, like, hey, we're at capacity. Like, we're getting so many new clients. Like, we need to almost kind of slow it down. That's that's a great thing.
That's a huge thing
to hear.
Yeah. And they've just been locked in for 2 years now. And we haven't even really had any like real conversations with them lately, because it's on autopilot now. We're like sending all the emails and everything, and they're just happy. So like that's just how it should be. Just having like people that you trust to be able to help you out on the back end, so you can focus on the actual product or service that you're providing. But yeah, man, I feel like that kind of relates to the trust thing and like the loyalty thing. And like, I feel like we operate so well internally with that, with clients, that's where I kind of want to take it to the social media side to start building our organic side as well. Cause like, there's so much value we can provide, like whether it is the tools that we use, how we grew the business, what are the pillars, what you need to focus on, why are they not getting that ROI? Talk about all that stuff in short form content, push it out there, and that creates the trust and loyalty that we're doing for our clients already. But that casts like a much wider net to be able to provide value to a much wider audience out there. So,
and I mean, of course, you and I are friends with many like entrepreneurs in different spaces doing different things. But when we made that shift content-wise a few months ago, like I was loving getting all the kind of the compliments and being like, hey, like I love that new video. Like that actually made me think about like what I'm doing and what I want to try differently. And when you offer that free value, again, like that, it's huge. Yeah, that is huge.
That's the funnel, man. That's a social media piece. If there's like a free value piece to it as well, which is obviously the short form content, but then if you have like an email blast or something that you can help them or update them on a weekly basis, that's the funnel. Then they start trusting you because it's free, and then they're like, okay, I know these guys. They actually know their shit. Now I can pay for their services, or I can pay for a consultation, hop on a call, whatever it may be. So interesting, man. But I kind of want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about some of that free value stuff. I want to talk about some of the services that we talk about. I know we broke down SEO and Google Ads a little bit before. I want to talk about a little bit more about content. I feel like we focus a lot about content here, but I really want to get your perspective on Google Ads and SEO. We can start with Google Ads. Let's start with Google Ads because I feel like that's what you're mostly knowledgeable in. So if someone came to you and said, let me just put you through a hypothetical. I'm a company. I come up to you and I say, I really want to run paid media because I want to grow my business, but I'm a little bit worried that I'm not going to get my ROI. And I have a, $5,000 a month budget for ads. Like, where do I start? Like, what is like something that would make me feel comfortable being like, I trust this process And like, what would be like your like minute elevator pitch to like why Google Ads is probably the most profitable, or social media ads? You could do either one.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it comes back to the funnel conversation. But what I tell them is just, if we're talking about you have a smaller budget and you want to drive more immediate results, Google Ads is a great channel because of the cost per click payment structure. So you only pay when people click on your ads. So that's basically paying for like a warm lead in a sense. So you get them to your website. If everything's already buttoned up, hopefully they're going to convert. Whereas on some of these more upper funnel channels where you're paying for views and things of that nature, the views may only go so far. But with Google Ads, if someone's clicking on your ad and that's the only time that you're being charged, you got them almost all the way there, right? Like the battle's almost won. Once they get on the website, as long as everything is in place, hopefully they're going to become a customer or reach out to you, whatever that online action is that you're trying to drive.
Yeah.
So that's why when we talk to people with limited budgets, if there's good volume there in terms of keywords or whatever their vertical is, that's why I typically will tend to lean towards Google Ads, because I know that it's going to be more like actionable. And it's more kind of tangible, the results of like what I paid for. It's like, okay, I paid X and I got this many clicks. If those clicks did not result in that final goal of a purchase or whatever it is, then maybe that's something else I need to look at from the website side. Whereas with content, like we talked about, content is tricky to figure out what's going to actually work. So I paid for all these views, but I'm still not sure what I need to do differently content wise. Maybe I need to outsource to a different editor. Like there's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah. How many, like there's so many, we talked about this before, but I really think about it and it still blows my mind how there's so many like fake accounts out there. Like I have so many different social media accounts, right? Like I have like 4 or 5 now that I have between the podcast, trading, personal, marketing, whatever. If someone's paying for impressions and it hits 5 of my accounts, I saw that same ad 5 times, but that counts and you're paying for that, right? Or does it go towards like your single account? But there could also be like ghost accounts too, that there's no activity, there's nothing there. So you're still paying for that site. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, so it's like it does get kind of tricky there. In a perfect world, like a system like that would be able to kind of dedupe like who is the same viewer. Okay. And that's like that can be through
like phone number and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Like what you're logged in, like email you're logged in with, things like that. So it should be able to dedupe for most of those like same visitors, but at the same time, it's just like it's a lot of moving pieces in terms of making sure that your ads are serving to the right audience. Like, are you wasting views on people that are never going to even be interested in your product, right? On Google, another reason why that be very, very like ROI positive for people is that whoever is seeing your ad on Google, they're actively in market already and actively searching for that keyword that you're willing to pay on.
Yeah. So like my back hurts, like I'm chiropractor near me.
Exactly. So they're
already looking for somebody.
So once they enter that search engine results page, they're already like they're a decent lead. Yeah. Decent lead. And then if they click on your ad, okay, we almost got them. And then maybe it's the price point, maybe the website is too slow, that's where you lost them. But you can feel better about like kind of where your dollars just went because you knew that person was actively already searching for that product or solution. They already were interested in your ad. And even if they don't convert right there, you can do cool things in terms of like retargeting and remarketing campaigns just to kind of re-engage that user down the line based off of just like what Google's audiences are, website visitors, things like that. Yeah.
So another question as like kind of know the answer, but for somebody that would be listening, you'd say keywords, right? Like the volume play, right? The more volume, the better, right? The more volume, the better in a keyword, but doesn't it make it more expensive to hit on that keyword? Like you have to like go through like the bidding war with other companies because since there is so much volume there.
Yeah, so there will be, so for keywords there's 2 like main types of keywords, right? So you'll have like your broad match keywords, which is just, they will cast like a broad net of what could show up for certain keywords, right? So it might be like running shoes. And then if it's a broad match keyword, it might actually show up for like something like super long tail, like running shoes for like outdoor sports, things like that. There's exact match keywords where it's like running shoes. I only want to show up when someone types in exactly running shoes. So depending on like the types of keywords that you're using, the match type, you can cast a wider net or a more narrow net to kind of conserve dollars if you're worried about maybe the lead quality going down. But on the flip side, when you talk about like the auction and competition, some keywords have more competition than others, right? So depending on a bunch of different factors, like how strong is your actual like ad copy? So like the written out ad, how strong is it? Your web page, like is it optimized? And there's overall like account health. You might end up having to pay a higher premium than the next person who has everything else buttoned up and is just better and kind of more credible than you and more budget.
Yeah.
You might have to pay a higher premium than them just because the search engine is kind of looking at you like, oh, this might be a good fit for this user, but I don't really know.
A new person in the space that is kind of going against somebody that's already well established at the back.
Yeah, and has their like their website is excellent, their ad copy is great. So the chances of you kind of outranking them, you might have to pay a little more, or it might just not be possible because maybe they have more budget.
See, this is the kind of stuff that's like, okay, everybody can run ads. Like everybody can Google or YouTube how to run ads, but like without this type of knowledge, like with the broad keywords versus the volume play, and like you kind of have to have that ad copy, like all this stuff that in there. That's why you have a team like a marketing agency that knows what they're doing. You don't want to just give it to anybody, because I was looking through social media the other day and I got like this ad for like this new stair stepper, like out of like a semi truck. I'm like, why the hell am I getting that ad, man? So they're just wasting those dollars, like hitting me, and like
never gonna,
exactly, like who the hell is targeting me for that? And like, I don't know what demographic they have set for that, but that obviously just shows me that whoever is running that has no idea what they're doing. So whoever their client is spending money for no reason at some point, right? I'm sure they're catching something out there, but like if I'm getting that ad, that means that they're not doing their job on the back end. But the back end is the most important part. So.
But again, we talk about like, so an ad like that, that's like that super top funnel just trying to drive awareness. So I mean, you're probably never going to be a customer there, but for a random person that sees that ad, and then who knows, maybe like a month later, they're like, I do want a stair stepper, and then they go to Google, see the same brand, they recognize from that video.
Hey man, maybe I end up getting my CDL license. Like nothing works out.
Hey, a friend might come to you and be like, I do CDL and I need this, and you're like, oh, I did see an ad. Like, so that's casting that. Sometimes it's good to cast that line net.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So kind of still growing that aware. I guess we're talking about it now, so somebody might hear like, I need a stepper out of that thing. But that's crazy. Exactly. All right, so like the paid media side, obviously, there's a lot of like back end stuff that can get a little dry, right? But a lot of people don't want to do that. But for somebody that owns a brand, like, oh, I've been running ads for a while, but it's not really clicking. It's might not be their, just like their product, their brand. It might be just because of like how they're structuring their ad, right, on the back end. Yeah. And would you tie that into SEO too? Would you tie that into like, do you think that SEO is really like close to the Google Ads piece? Like they know they go hand in hand, but like,
for sure,
if you were to go up to somebody and like, SEO is pretty broad, right? And not a lot of people understand it, but would you relate them? Like, would you? 100%. You definitely wouldn't do Google Ads if you had like a terrible
SEO.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't be worthwhile, because you could be pretty confident that most of the people that even if they do click are probably not going to convert on your website. But also one of the huge things on Google Ads is your ads and keywords will have a what's called a quality score. So it's basically a ranking. It can either be below average, average, or above average. And honestly, 2 out of like the 3 components that make up whatever your quality score is, and that can be any from 1 to 10, the quality score. 2 of the 3 components honestly directly tied to your website. Like one of them is landing page experience, literally. So if the landing page experience is poor because the website is trash, you're good luck getting a good quality score. And if your quality score is low, your ads aren't going to show up as frequently, and you're going to have to pay more to get them to show up. But that's something I see all the time. Of course, like at Google, and just trying to help people work through that.
Here's a question for you, right? So one of our clients, I looked it up the other day, right? And they have competition in the space, as everybody does, right? You want to be the best in whatever space you're doing. You go on to Google and you see the ad. You can see sponsored at the top before it gets to like the people that have the highest ranking SEO and like the best brands, all that type of stuff. So the ads obviously pop up before. If you are coming into a space like, let's just say the medical space or, you know, the therapy space, how do they get above those other ads? Do they pay more? Is it the ad copy? Is like, how do you rank above the other ads that are already being ran?
Yeah, so that's that auction nature, right? So it's all, the whole search engine results page is an auction.
Yep.
And it's it's live, it's real time. Like there's thousands of different signals that go in and split seconds when Google is making a decision on who's going to rank where and who wins.
Yeah.
But at the root of that, you will have a bid. Okay. So like you can run a campaign, say you're only bidding on like 5 keywords, a small campaign, but you're saying that the maximum that you are willing to spend on any of those keywords to show up is like $5.
Okay.
But then you might have someone that's ranking above you that's willing to pay $7.
Got it.
So it's really a live auction. But then there's
it's about money, right?
Yeah, but there's also other strategies within that that you can leverage to also kind of mitigate that too. So for like a brand keyword, most clients will use what we call a target impression share. So just aiming to maintain a certain share of the overall impressions that are showing up for that keyword. So like next day marketing, say there's like 10,000 impressions against that keyword per month. Mm-hmm. And we're like, we need to show up 99% of the time that keyword comes up because that's our brand. So a lot of people will use that strategy for a branded keyword, but a non-brand keyword where it's going to be a lot of competition and a lot of people all going for that running shoe, something that's just like very generic, maybe broad. You may have to have a more ROI-based strategy running for optimizing your campaigns because it's like, okay, I want to get a $2 return every time that this ad, serves. I want, on average, with my monthly budget, I want to see like a $2 return that when this ad served, I got like $2 return of people actually purchasing my running shoe. Mm-hmm. So that's where the strategies of like the agency on the back end and how they're managing the campaigns really comes into it. But at the root of it, with that cost per click model, it comes down to the bids and what your budget is if you want to outrank people. Yeah. But then also those quality scores and everything I was just talking about. If that's not buttoned up, then you're going to have a bigger disadvantage of being able to outrank people that do have their quality scores at an 8 to 10, and you're sitting down at like 4 to 5, things like that.
Yeah, so the SEO and Google ads really do go hand in hand. So can you see the actual physical dollars that another competitor is spending, like with any tools on the back end?
You can't see into their account. Yeah. But what you can see is what the keywords that you're bidding on, what the volume is, how much money is kind of flowing through there. Exactly. And then there's also tools built into Google where you can see like you have competitive insights. So you can see where like other competitors are kind of ranking in terms of showing up, but you won't be able to see exactly how much they're spending. So like, you can ballpark that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like even like the software SEMrush is really great because you can kind of take a look into like the traffic, the analytics, and that kind of shows you the paid media that they might be bringing in, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so you can use other softwares to help you kind of track that, which helps us, do the research for competitors as well.
Forecasts.
Yeah. Create those forecasts. And that's the beauty of like having like an exploratory call. It's like, who are your competitors? What are you trying to target? What are you trying to get after? What are your price points? Are you going to get a good ROI off of this? Because if they're not going to get a good ROI, we're obviously going to be like, this is not worth your investment, which I feel like is the big transparency thing as well. But with SEMrush, we can kind of track all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, we have other resources as well, but like that's a really good like key pivotal point for anybody that's like trying to do research even on their own. That's a good.
And there's
tool
tools like that for meta ads too, right? Yeah, where you can kind of get an idea of like how much people are spending in the industry. Yeah,
yeah. What would you say? Give me like your top 3 tools you think are really good in the digital marketing space, like for somebody to, whether it is the ads or what do you think is like the most helpful tools that you use to help you create even like, I don't want to say case studies, but projections or even just like helping them out. Cause I have 3 that I think are very interesting that a lot of people might not know about, but what are 3 tools that you think are really, really important to utilize?
Yeah. I mean, I can even bucket them into like the channels, right?
Yeah.
So for like SEO, like page speed insights, like you can actually get like a free kind of report of how your website ranks up on a scale of 1 to 100.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that we're bringing on for SEO, they're like sub 60, and it's like, let's try and get you incrementally better, incrementally into the green.
Yeah.
So that's a free report, and it will give you actually things to work on, like, and tell you why you scored so low. Maybe your load speed is too slow. Mm-hmm. Maybe like you have huge images that are just like not optimized that take really long, and that's why your page takes so long to load.
Yep.
for Google Ads, SEM Rush, and also for SEO, SEM Rush, to be able to look at keyword volume, competitor, just insights, to get like kind of a grasp on the industry of how much maybe you should be spending or where there's opportunity for you. This is a tool that we use a lot when bringing on new search clients, just to see projections on like how much maybe they should be spending on any given month, because a lot of people will come to us for budget recommendations, and then we can kind of back that into projections of like how many sales or whatever we can drive for them, giving ourselves maybe modest like conversion rates based on how many clicks we're being told by the system we could get at X amount of dollars, right? And then for content, I think I'll just say for social media, any of the tools where you're able to automate the process for posting, because we talked about how long that it takes to make content, and then it can be even more taxing just to actually like schedule it out and post daily. Yeah. Because that's a whole other best practice. Like you want to be posting at least like 3-4 times a week to stay active, engage with your audience. So we've used a number of tools there, like Hootsuite, have tools like Funnel. There's a lot of different planning tools out there, but
Hootsuite is trash. It's so bad, man. It's crazy because like some of these platforms now you can do like the scheduling stuff too.
Yeah.
But the posting thing is crazy because now, Andrew Tate did it. I mean, he posted like 5 videos a day for like 6 months straight in order to be like really, it's like, that's a lot of work, man. Like you got to have a whole team or some sort of software to kind of like get that weight off your back, because it's a lot of work to post like that all the time, especially managing social media.
And you're right. Like I do love that, like LinkedIn, Instagram, like they've built in the actual like schedule ahead feature to their platform, because they probably realized that they were losing people to these other platforms.
Not as much time spent on the platform.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's huge. But I guess even like CapCut for making videos, for content, like there's so many options out there.
So many out there, man. And I feel like there's so many new like AI tools that people are trying to pop into, and a lot of them are good, but a lot of them are also like a little like, I don't know if this is right. Yeah. Like, I know people all the time that are just like targeting us to be like, oh, I see you have a marketing agency. I can convert you, 100,000 people a month, and like we'll make you $500,000 in like the next 3 months. I'm like, all right, this is a scam, because they're saying like we use this AI thing, like that one guy that targeted us, and then he was like showing us our website. They had the AI guy that was talking about it, like scrolling through, like this is how we could provide whatever, and then you can send it out to 15,000 people and then get like a 5% conversion rate, whatever. After those projections, but those AI tools out there like Instantly.ai or Apollo. .ai. I think it's Apollo.ai or IO. But there's some of the things out there that you can literally just send all these email blasts out there. They're like 15,000 emails a month. And obviously, if you're sending out 15,000 emails a month, of a click of a button, somebody was going to reply, right? Yeah. But it is, we talked about this in the last podcast, but how like likely is somebody going to reply to one of those? Sometimes they get me. Sometimes I'm like, okay, this kind of sounds interesting, but it has to have a certain pitch. But that's the best part about some of these softwares. It's like you can really kind of create like a warm email message like, hey, my name's blah, blah, blah. Are you interested in this? If not, no worries. Just think that we could provide some value. Something super simple, or like something that can capture you in like the click of an email. You can see it in the subject line. But think of that 15,000 times. Somebody's going to reply. Like there's so many different tools out there, whether it is the video editing stuff, the AI generator stuff, or the Instantly is like to send out these email blasts to bring in those leads.
And that's huge for smaller teams, right?
Yeah,
like
huge.
People that maybe you're starting off like a one-man show and you don't have like a sales team or anything like that. That will actually help you be able to, at scale, kind of like reach out to new clients and maybe get new business. But that's what we're talking about, again, with like having the processes and getting something in place that allows you to scale. Like automation is huge. And even just having like a step-by-step for simple things like how to send an invoice or how to write a contract. Like what do I need to change in the template each time I'm sending out a new contract, just so you're not wasting time like trying to scan through it and reinvent the wheel. It's like just have the process listed out, and then every time you just make sure you hit on those 5-10 things and you're good to go, because you've already invested the time to figure out what needs to go down.
Yeah. Hell yeah. there's so many different things out there because there's the AI generator stuff, the email stuff. I was trying to think if there's one more. Oh, I know there's so many people nowadays that are utilizing those like offshore like workers that you would pay like $4 an hour, and they're like making these appointment setters for you, which is crazy because it's super helpful. Kind of sounds shitty, but you're also giving them a really good pay wage for where they live. It sounds like you're taking advantage of them because you're only paying them $3 an hour to do like these like really rigorous tasks. But like they're sending out all those emails and like responding to them, and they're setting your appointments, which is honestly like a good way for smaller businesses to start up. But it feels like at some point there's a better process.
But that takes a lot of investment up front because you got to train them and make sure that they're not, you got to give them scripts. You got to invest in training them. So it takes a lot of time too.
So you can either invest your time in kind of going like the lazier automated route, or you can actually provide like a brand and like actually put the work in so people trust you, and you don't have to like go through all those like little tasks and like email blast 15,000 people when you can actually hire a sales team, get on calls with clients, all that kind of stuff. But I know people that are doing that and they're crushing it, but it's far and few between that are using that model. But I feel like we're providing, a lot of value for some. That's really the kind of the value or the idea of this podcast is to kind of talk about like some of the stuff that we're building, some of the things that we use internally. And I feel like
we've tried.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, there's some stuff that we tried, we've invested in, and it didn't work out ultimately. And there's a lot of things that's how business works. You're gonna invest in something, you're gonna lose money, but in the end, if you keep trying and trying and trying, something's going to stick, and you only need to be right once, as Mark Cuban always said, and you can take off from there. You need to be right one time. You could do 50,000 things, but if you're right one time, that's all you need. Yeah. So I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate all your knowledge. I always learn something from you too, man, about like the Google Ads side and stuff. It's like there's always something. And on the content side, I know we went off on that tangent for a while, but I think it's time to ask you what I asked you in the last podcast, what your next move was. And I kind of want to switch it up a little bit because that's the idea of the podcast, is kind of get in somebody's story, then talk about the value that they bring, and then what their next move is to continue that success. But instead of you personally, I kind of want to ask you what your next move is as a business owner. Being the CEO of Next Era Marketing, I want to know what your next move is, since we had the podcast talking about like value and building and pillars and structure and all that good value. I want to hear about what your next move is as a business owner and where you want to take the business.
Next move is just scale. So making sure that we have the infrastructure in place to be able to really grow crazy here in Q4 and in 2024. I feel like we've done a good job this year, kind of laying the foundation. We worked on the model. We talked about the 3 pillars. So those are the areas to zero in and focus on. Now building out a sales team, which is super exciting. Take some of that weight off of us. Of course, we'll always be selling, but take some of that kind of weight off of us to be able to know that even when we're not on the call, we got other people that are on a call or knocking on doors. And then also just getting more knowledge from others that have been in my position before and had success. I'm never too cocky to not know that there's something more that I could learn or I could improve in. So now getting more counsel from people that have done this before. We've started kind of building out like a bit of like a board. And that's awesome because I leave those conversations and like just so excited every time. Just kind of rejuvenated, because being a business owner can be really
taxing on the body, man,
and just mentally a lot of late nights thinking about it's gonna work. So
dude, leaving those conversations so inspired too. The people that have sold businesses, made millions and millions of dollars, and now they're educating us on how to do the exact same thing. And they picked our business apart. It's like shit. But now look at where we are now, like literally 3 months later. It's crazy how like those constructive criticism calls for somebody up at that level. There's so much to learn. There's so much value. So if you can find a mentor in business like that,
take that
and run with it. Don't ever like take like any like
don't ever think
offense. Don't think you're the best, because there's a way to do it. And the best advice, the way I want to leave this podcast now, is take whatever advice that somebody gives you, get really fucking good at one thing, and show them why you're the best. And then you'll scale much more aggressively than you ever would trying to put a little bit of knowledge or a little bit of value in so many different baskets, because if you're really good at one thing, the focus is key.
Exactly, and that was one of the biggest lessons we had to learn this year.
Exactly, but now it's ready to scale, man. So that's the next move. Next move is to
blow
scale. The fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time again, as always, and let's see what we can do in 2024. It's gonna be a good year, man.
Yes, sir. I'm excited.
All right, bro.
Thank you.